Hi, I'm Ronnie Pannu, Director and Founder of Pannu Tax Disputes and Investigations. At Pannu Tax, we help our clients to resolve and manage all types of HMRC inquiries, disputes and investigations. We've seen a significant increase in the number of HMRC inquiries into the residence and domicile status of UK individuals. Now, in my view, this is a result of a number of factors. Partly as a result of the success HMRC has been having over the last few years in the UK courts in challenging, in particular, resident status. It's partly as a result of the introduction and establishment of the High Net Worth Unit, which contains senior inspectors who essentially man-mark the UK's wealthiest taxpayers and so have more time and perhaps ability to be able to review issues like status in more detail than perhaps they did in the past. And then finally, the concentration of residence and domicile specialists within HMRC into so-called centres of excellence. So before April 2013, when we saw the introduction of the statutory residence test, actually establishing somebody's resident status for tax purposes meant relying on established tax cases or case law that stretched back to the 1900s and earlier. These tax cases created a number of principles that the courts and HMRC use in order to decide whether somebody is UK tax resident or not. So in reality, what this means is a detailed forensic review of the facts around somebody's life, their business connections, their family connections, both before they left the UK and after they left the UK. So what should you expect if you received a notice from HMRC to inquire into your residence or domicile status? Well, as I mentioned earlier, you should unfortunately expect an intrusive, fact-based and evidence-based inquiry into your life. So how you lived your life before you left the UK, how you engage with any businesses you may have, how you engage with your family. So that's before, as I say, you left the UK, but also then after you left the UK. Having the evidence available to support your position is going to be absolutely critical in these types of inquiries, because HMRC are unlikely to take your word as an absolute fact. So how you present the facts and how you support those facts with relevant evidence is going to be absolutely critical in terms of getting the best possible outcome. So as part of this forensic review of the facts and evidence, what type of information and documents does HMRC usually ask for? Well, it includes things like details of your movements pre and post departure. So the details of any diaries, of any plane tickets and any other evidence that establishes where you were on any particular date. Bank and credit card statements for accounts in the UK and overseas to help to establish your spending patterns, your lifestyle more generally, and also to test, for example, whether there is any activity in the UK bank accounts on dates when your diary analysis may suggest you were overseas. Can include mobile phone records to again establish where you were on a particular date and who you were calling and how often. So I've seen this used recently by HMRC to, for example, suggest that an individual who had left the UK had retained strong connections with his UK businesses because the mobile phone record showed him calling the UK and his businesses in the UK on a regular basis. So given the nature of this type of review, it's absolutely crucial that the facts are articulated properly, that they're supported by relevant evidence, and that any information and facts that you present to HMRC are tested before they're provided, and that any questions that the inspector might ask are anticipated and again dealt with before they're actually asked. So if you're subject to a HMRC residence or domicile inquiry, it's important that you have on your side an advisor who not only understands the case law, the technical arguments around residence and domicile status, but also has experience of these types of inquiries, that understands HMRC powers to obtain documents and information, and that can present all of this in a effective and credible way to ensure that you get the best possible outcome.